Hey mama, do you find yourself wishing you knew you were on the right path with your business? Or wanting to know how to do it all as a work-at-home mom and entrepreneur? If you struggle with imposter syndrome, mom guilt, or fear of failure, then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Alexia, a Christian mindset coach, passionate about teaching moms how to renew their minds to find success both in business and motherhood. You can overcome the negative thoughts holding you back from fully stepping into your calling. I know what it's like to worry your business will never work, to feel mom guilt every time you work on your business, to realize your mindset is hindering you, but not knowing how to change it in a Christ-centered way. I created the Mama with a Calling podcast to teach you how to use the powerful combination of God's Word and proven mindset strategies to help you break free from negative, paralyzing thoughts and gain clarity and confidence to go where God is leading you. As you step out of the old way of thinking and into God's way, you'll find more peace, joy, and purpose. Pop in those earbuds and get ready to let God work in you so He can work through you. Hi, and welcome back to the Mama with a Calling podcast. I'm Alexia. Thank you so much for joining me today for another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about preparing for the holidays as an entrepreneur since it's somehow already here. But before we dive into that, I want to let you all know that I have just opened up 2 more spots for one-on-one coaching clients. I was actually maxed out, but I was praying about it and I felt like I wanted to help more people. And so I looked at my schedule and realized that the way the client calls were falling, I could move things around. And actually, I do have 2 more spots open, including the potential for nights and weekends. So if you've got a 9 to 5 or maybe just nights and weekends is when somebody can watch the kids or whatever the case may be, those options are available as well. So this is coaching where we focus on overcoming all the fear that's holding you back in your business, or maybe before you even start the business, right? And we're going to break through the lies that are keeping you stuck so that you can say yes to what God is calling you to do. This is from making sure you know exactly who you're serving to working through any money mindset blocks you might have and anything in between. As your coach, I will help you boldly and confidently step into what God is calling you to do. No more being controlled by your emotions and held back in fear and worry, instead of taking action and making an impact in the lives of others as God works through you and your business, because that's the point, right? So if you're interested in learning more, go to mamawithacalling.com/discovery call, all one word, to get started. And this is a free call. It can be video or phone, where I can hear about your business. You can ask questions and we can see if we will be a good fit. If you're even slightly interested, I would still love to talk with you. It is not going to waste my time. I always love hearing from you all, hearing what your business is like and all of that. But I'd love to talk with you more about your goals and your struggles and how I can help support you. And I do offer payment plans, so finances should not be a reason that you don't get the coaching that you need in order to do the things that God's calling you to do. So I can't wait to talk with you on a call. Okay, so let's get into today's episode. We are going to be talking about preparing for the holidays. I don't know about you, but I cannot believe that it is already November and the holidays are almost here. I'm going to say almost because I feel like it doesn't count yet until Thanksgiving, which is still only a few weeks away. But this time of year can feel hectic with all the traveling and dinner invitations, etc. And a lot of times when there are holidays, we have these conflicting emotions as entrepreneurs. We want to enjoy time with our family and friends and just relax. Like that's what it feels like you should do on holidays. But then for some of us, we also have these thoughts of how much time that we could work on the business during these breaks that we have where people are kind of just relaxing and somebody else can watch the kids. Whether it's that you're still in your job. So having these extra days off feels amazing. Like, yes, opportunity. Or you just have someone to finally watch the kids. Either way, it can bring these mixed emotions of guilt for not wanting to do the other thing that we think that we should be doing. So, feelings of excitement at the chance to work on the thing we're longing to work on, but also feeling like we're supposed to be resting and back and forth, whichever way you're feeling. Because for years, I know that this time of year always caused the holidays just were stressful for me because I didn't know how to navigate those emotions. and the different things vying for my attention and my time. And it actually caused me to walk in a lot of anxiety and stress. Like I couldn't actually enjoy whatever it was I was doing. So if I relaxed and enjoyed time with my family, I was like agitated because I wanted to be working and this was my free time. And in my head, I'm just thinking, ugh. And then or if I worked through the holiday, then I felt really bad. Like, oh man, I totally missed the time with my family. And so I never seemed to be able to get a hold of that. But I did finally learn how to do that. And I wanted to share with you some things to consider for your business as you head into the holidays. I want to talk about both mindset and the practical side so that you can go into the holidays knowing you're doing your best with all that's on your plate and all that God is leading you to do. So the first tip, I guess, is to get rid of the shoulds. So I just want to help with the mindset side here. There isn't something that you should, quote unquote, be doing. There's no rule that says that you should be relaxing with family, and there's not a rule that says that you can't relax with family. This is where we really have to watch ourselves and do a heart check on why we're doing what we're doing. Is it family expectations? You're worried what people will think of you, one way or the other, right? Is it that? Is it internet expectations or social media expectations? Like you see these people talking about, all this amazing vacation time with their families, and spending time with their friends, doing all this amazing, decorations and all this. But really, you don't want to do that. You might want to work more during that time than do all of the decorations and things, or vice versa, right? There's not a right and a wrong here. Is it the fear of not being successful? Maybe you feel like you have to work or you won't be successful when really in your heart, you want to just be able to trust God and you're going to work some, but you want to spend time with your family. So I guess I can already hear in this kind of back and forth, it feels confusing. And that's why I'm doing this episode, is because that's what it felt like for years when I would go through this, is kind of the back and forth about what should I do. So that's what causes the confusion, is feeling as though there is a should. So step number 1 is to get rid of the shoulds. And that leads to step number 2, which is listen to what God is telling you to do. I know I say this on essentially every episode of this podcast, but that's because it is so important. You have to pray and seek answers from God and then walk in the way that He's leading you. Every person is not going to hear the same thing from Him on how to navigate their time and focus during the holiday season. It really does depend on your family dynamic, your calling, where you are in your business, etc. In Galatians 1:10, Paul says, "For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ." Now, his is talking about something different, but, it still matters. It matters way more what God says and what He is leading you to do than what anyone else thinks. We're not trying to make everybody happy. So even if well-meaning family members come at you with their expectations of what you should be doing on the holidays, keep your peace and gently, lovingly let them know that you appreciate their input, but you're doing whatever it is you're going to do instead. They do not have to like it. I think that's a hard one for some of you. I know it's been hard for me in the past, but this is actually really important because you have to be more obedient. Well, you have to be obedient to Christ, right? It's better to be more obedient to Him than to try to appease people, because that actually is ignoring what He told you to do, right? So when we try to appease a person and make them happy in hopes that they won't be upset, but if we're doing that at the expense of ignoring what God told us to do, that is not good, right? We're not called to do that. So even though people may not like what you're choosing, walk in the peace that you don't need people to like it. You don't need people to understand it, but you do need to do what God's leading you to do. And step number 3 then is to create a plan. So once you're okay with whatever God is leading you to do over this season, whether it's work or relax or something in between, it will probably be something in between, but whatever it is, now you can create and should create a plan. So look ahead and start mapping out how you're going to continue to show up for your business in some capacity while also navigating all the other things happening over the holidays. Now, this is really important because if you're not careful, well, at least this happens to me, if you're not careful, you'll either overwork and turn around and realize that you missed the holidays altogether because you were working too much, or, and this is probably more likely, you're going to turn around and realize that you didn't really work at all for basically 2 months because it's just easier to not worry about your business. And this is especially true if your business isn't making much money yet. It can feel like it's just an option. Like when everything else is literally in front of you and vying for your attention and your family is right in front of you, it feels like maybe, oh, that business is just I like it. It's fun for me. I enjoy working on it. So I'm just not going to do it because I don't have time. But if God has called you to this, then you need to take your calling seriously, even if it's not making money yet. That means giving it the appropriate amount of attention for the season you're in. There's no rule about how many hours or how much time you need to spend on it, but giving it some time. And this is where I would suggest, that you pray and figure out where God is leading you. How much time are you going to spend on your business? What does that look like in your week? Maybe it's just planning. Maybe it's just jotting down some ideas. Maybe it's putting out a podcast episode or whatever your content form is. Maybe it's creating a product and you're going to, spend an hour a week working on that. Maybe it's putting in a whole lot of effort. I'm not sure. But whatever it is, making sure that you make a plan for it. So what I would suggest is mapping out for the holidays when you're going to be traveling and when you want to be working so that you know what you're doing ahead of time. So you're not trying to work in your spare moments because there are no such thing. So you want to actually plan ahead your work time if possible. And then you can share this with your husband and your family, what's on the plan so that they know what to expect as well, right? So asking your husband and kids, if your kids are old enough, to help you with the work time so that you can keep doing this business that you're passionate about, that God has called you to. And this is a great way to also help reduce any of that mom guilt you might feel because everyone's going to be on board. And I see this a lot. I know I did this for a long time. I did my business in isolation. I would just say, I need to go work. And I wasn't including my family in that venture saying, because when you do that and you tell your kids what you're doing, you're showing your kids that it matters what God said to you. It matters that you do this work that God gave you. When you hear from your husband, yes, honey, go do that thing. Go put the work in on that. Like you're having his support too. So then when you're sitting in there working and your family's over there watching some, holiday movie or whatever, you don't feel bad because they support you and they're encouraging you and it's okay. Okay, now that you know when you're going to work, decide what you want to work on. So are there promos that you want to do? So, we have Black Friday, we have different holiday things. Are there promotions that you want to do? Are there content themes you want to focus on during this time? Depending on what your business is, you might want to put out stuff around, something to do with the holidays, or maybe it's preparing for the new year, for a new year promotion, etc. Any of those things that might be timely. And then finally, automate or work on anything you can ahead of time. Many times we can actually work on stuff like now and schedule it out for later. So you don't have to be, if you're trying to send out emails the week of Thanksgiving or whatever, you don't have, or put social media posts up, you don't have to be actively sitting there doing it, right? There are ways to batch and schedule it now. So you can choose to, on the front end, batch, like spend maybe an entire Saturday or something and pre-record your content, pre-write those emails or social media posts, whatever it is, and then schedule them out so that when it does become the holidays and you're going to be traveling and all of that, instead of feeling like your business has to be just laid down, this actually allows you to still have that time off, but still have your business running in the background. Like that is the amazing beauty of an online business because you can schedule things out. And this is why I say to do it in this order, because when you realize that God's called you to this, you realize that you do want to work on this, it is important to you, then you realize, okay, I need to prioritize this, but it doesn't mean that I have to physically sit down and work during the holidays. It might. Maybe you don't have time right now to batch, and that's okay too. So I just hope that you can take away from this. I don't want to cause confusion, though I feel like that's kind of, it sounds confusing because that is the thoughts can be confusing. But I hope that if you take away anything, it's that do what God is leading you to do. There's no right, there's no wrong based on what people are saying. There's no rule here about how to navigate the holidays and your time as an entrepreneur. But you have to trust God that the time that you put in, He is going to bless the work of your hands. He is going to nurture those seeds that you're planting, and they will eventually yield a harvest. So as you go into the holidays, I just wanted to encourage you with that. And to help you with this planning for the holidays, I am running a flash sale on my Goal Setting for Christian Entrepreneurs course and planner. So this is a course that will walk you through how to create business goals based on where God is leading you in this season. It walks you through the entire process of deciding what to focus on, what to lay down, and then you map it out so that you can actually do it. This is a printable planner so that you can use it season after season. So you literally buy it once and you can use it forever as long as you want. And it also has a yearly overview so you can use it thinking ahead for 2024 as well. And there are video trainings that I included to walk you through each of the steps and provide mindset tips so you can keep going and not get stuck in all of that. And it's just a great way to sit down, have some time with God, pray over your business goals. So it's not just you trying to map all this stuff out. It's literally sitting down with God and saying, okay, God, you're praying, you're listening to Him, and you're moving in the direction that He's wanting you to move in during this season. So right now until Friday, November 10th, you can save 40% on the Goal Setting for Christian Entrepreneurs course and workbook. Just go to mamawithacalling.com/goal setting to grab your copy. This is under $20 and it is a great resource that will use over and over in your business. I'll put the link in the description below as well. All right, that's it for this episode. I hope this was encouraging to you as you head into the holidays. If you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to me at alexia@mamawithacalling.com, or I would love to connect with you inside of the Facebook group, faithdrivenbusinessmamas.com, and I have the link for that below. Until next time, keep pursuing your calling. Thanks for listening to the Mama with a Calling podcast. As always, you'll find the show notes for today's episode at mamawithacalling.com/podcast. Really quick before you head out, are you loving these episodes? To make sure this podcast gets in the ears of as many mamas as possible, please head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. I'm going to be reading your reviews on the podcast, so I can't wait to hear from you. Also, if you know someone that needs to hear these episodes, grab a screenshot and share it on Instagram, and don't forget to tag me at Mama with a Calling so I can share it in my stories. Until next time, keep pursuing your calling.